Good morning, Gina Gulberti. Hope to pronounce it well. Yeah, Gina Gulberti, something like that. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, good morning.
Good
How are you?
morning. We are fine here. How are you?
Yeah, fine, fine. I mean, my name is super Italian, in fact, Gina
Yeah, yeah.
Gulberti, even if I'm based in Madrid and I'm Spanish, but yeah, my parents thought that it was amazing to have an Italian name together with my family name. So
Perfect. So Gina Gulberti is a VP marketing at Launchmetrics, where she leads the digital marketing strategy dedicated to fashion, luxury, and cosmetic industries. I know that you have a presentation, you have some slides,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
I leave you the stage, and I leave the stage if the technical team tells me that everything is okay. I'm waiting for a signal from them, a sign, something. There's something we can just chit chat. No, okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Okay, the
here we
stage
are.
is yours. I'll be back in 20 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Well, hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for inviting me to speak at this amazing event. I'm very excited to be part of POO 2021. So my name is Gina Gulberti. You will see in the next slide. As I was already introduced, I'm the Vice President of Marketing at Launchmetrics. And first of all, I would like to briefly explain what we do at Launchmetrics for those who maybe don't know us. So Launchmetrics is the leading brand performance cloud for fashion, luxury, and beauty companies. We essentially provide software and insights to industry organizations so that they can improve their brand performance. We have over a decade of experience with more than 1,000 clients. You can see some of their names on the screen, like Fendi, Zalando, Calvin Klein, Adidas, etc. And key industry partners also that have accompanied us during all this time, like the CFDA, Camera Nazionale della Moda, British Fashion Council, among others. And essentially, our brand performance cloud allows clients to optimize the use of their brand assets, like both physical and digital. We help them to share those assets with the world through online events, samples, digital galleries, and other key brand experiences. And finally, what is more important is that we help them to understand what is the impact of these initiatives. So we essentially help them to measure everything that they do in terms of marketing and communications. At this point, you are probably asking yourself, but what is brand performance, right? Like, what does it mean? So at the end, I'm pretty sure when thinking in your influencer campaigns, your own media strategy, your event marketing, or other amplification initiatives, what you have in mind is to get awareness or driving sales, creating customer loyalty. And from Launchmetrics, what we believe is that everything can be summarized into building brand momentum. So at the end, for the CEO of a fashion, luxury, or beauty company, there are two main things they are looking for. The first one is to obviously increase revenue, right? Like at the end, make the product they produce being sold. But then the second most important thing is trying to make their brand to stay relevant within the market. And a great example is this one that you can see on the screen right now from the American brand Kate Spade. So when they were acquired by Tapestry, and according to them, 1.4 billion, so half the investment of the acquirement was the value of the brand itself. And as a marketer, you will agree with me that the brand is the most valuable financial asset for fashion companies. But until now, there was not a way to quantify that. Um, and thank you for the slide. And I guess for marketers, this has been like a topic, a huge topic always, like marketing attribution, right? How can we quantify like our efforts and all the campaigns that we are launching? But at the same time, the truth is that improving brand performance is much more complex today with the landscape that we have in front of us. And we have some major challenges I would like to highlight here on the screen. First of all, we have seen an evolution in the consumer generations, right? Like while for the fashion, luxury, and beauty industries, we used to have Generation X and baby boomers as a key target, connecting with them through traditional channels like magazines, mass media, television, radio, etc. We have seen how millennials and Generation Z are becoming more and more important as they represent this consumer of tomorrow, the one that will essentially will drive share of wallet. And that's why now it is all about word of mouth marketing, social media, influencer marketing. Like this disruption has totally changed the way we market our products. Then the second element that we should consider and take into account is due to this digital revolution of the industry, we know that today there are 3 times more touch points than 15 years ago. We essentially need to spend more time in moving consumers to the path of purchase. And at the same time, we need to consider that it's not only marketing who's creating these touch points. At the end, we have the PR team contributing, we have the social media team, we have the paid team probably, and at the end, all of them are creating different touch points. All of them are creating like different like elements, moments in the customer journey. And from a measurement perspective, this is another challenge and a big challenge, because at the end, all of them are using different platforms, different type of metrics, and it's really complex to understand what's working better and what's offering a higher return on investment. And finally, the third element that you see on the screen, sorry, in the previous slide here, companies continue to globalize. And we need not only to look at the most powerful regions for the fashion luxury sector, like Italy, France, New York, US, and so on, but we should look at the emerging markets that will offer like a great opportunity and a greater opportunities for tomorrow. And we know that by 2025, 41% of the fashion, luxury, and beauty revenue will come from China. So we know, because everyone has been talking about this, and especially in the last year since the pandemic has started, like how China is the future, how China will represent like the consumer of tomorrow, and so on. But to move into this type of regions, to move into the Asian market, we need to understand the difference of these regions, right? Like in terms not only of consumer behavior, but in terms of tactics, platforms, technology, and voices, because it's a totally different landscape. And within this scenario of changes, consumer evolution, new markets, but also the implications of a global pandemic that has affected like marketing budgets in many different ways, we can say that the new normal will be creating smarter initiatives with smaller budgets. So unfortunately, it's something that we probably experienced in the last year, like how we were coming from a scenario in which physical events were happening. We had a lot of money to organize them, and suddenly all this was canceled. All this was like a stop. And at the end, we had to invest more in digital platforms, in digital channels, but in a different way, right? Like the budget is probably lower, or it's different at least. So return on investment and efficiency will be absolutely key from now on when planning any type of marketing strategies. Brand value will stay relevant still, but not anymore with unlimited amounts of dedicated budget. And here's where the concept of brand performance starts. So brand performance can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people, but from Launchmetrics, we believe it can be simplified into 3 key elements, the ones that you can see on the screen right now. The first element is the success of your creative assets. And we need to think today 60% of the marketing budgets are going to the production of creative assets. And when I mention or I say creative assets, I mean lookbook images, front row, product images, the images that you use for your e-commerce, etc. So understanding what's performing better and getting a granular view of your creative assets behavior in a digital or physical stage will be the first element building your brand performance. The second element that we have here is will be your brand's ability to create impactful experiences to meet the speed of the modern consumer. I was mentioning before how the new consumer generations are younger, and you need to identify what are the channels, the content formats, and the tactics that will be able to reach out to them, to engage with them, and obviously to retain them. And lastly, what is really important in how well in this like definition of brand performance is how well your activities and brand compare with your competitors or stand out within the market. So not only how your events, your influencer activations or brand assets are working month by month, but how you are performing against your competitors and industry standards. This is going to be absolutely key. So at the end, brand performance could be summarized into, if we move into the next slide, Brand performance can be summarized in your brand's ability to effectively connect identity or brand equity with sales or return on investment, right? So right now we need to think in this intangible element that we are always looking for in the fashion industry, that we always try to build. But at the same time, we need to think in efficiency. We need to think in optimizing the resources that we invest in every brand activity, in every marketing initiative. And for Launchmetrics, we are using something that it's quite important to analyze and to understand and to measure brand performance, something that we call a voice-centric approach. In the next slide, you can see this voice-centric definition, or how we represent it. Can we move to the next? Thank you. Because today is not good enough for brands to look at how they perform in online, print, and social media, but really to understand the true return of their marketing investments. And in order to extract conclusions, we need an approach that allows us to unify and visualize all channels, formats, and publications at the same time. I was mentioning before how challenging it is today to understand the customer journey, with all the different team members that are participating in that customer journey, with all the different touch points that we create as a brand. So at the end, all this needs to be put into one bucket, into one single methodology. So that's why we believe you need to look at the different voices that are creating awareness, consideration, conversion, and retention for your brand. These four stages that you can see in the voice-centric image, these four stages are critical in moving consumers along the path to purchase, and understanding what voice activates your clients at each stage of the customer journey will be fundamental for taking smarter and more strategic decisions. That is key in here. But we also need, in order to do that, not only a methodology that puts everything, that puts all your channels, all your content formats, all your platforms into one single methodology. We also need a unified metric, something that could be applied to all different channels, to all different publications, to literally compare apples to apples, right? So to literally compare like a social media mention with an online media mention, with, for example, an appearance from a celebrity or a mention from an influencer. We need to use the same methodology, and we need to use the same metric or criteria. So in the next slide, I would like to talk about the unified format measurement that we use at Launchmetrics, that is called media impact value. And media impact value helps our clients to assign a monetary value to every single post, interaction, and article. It is a proprietary algorithm that is adapted to the needs of the fashion, industry, and beauty industries. We have been working for more than a decade in developing this algorithm. And this criteria is not only considering quantitative elements like engagement, reach, or audience, but also qualitative elements that are essential to really understand what is the impact my marketing activity is getting. These criteria, for example, help us to understand that in the last season, this is the figure that you can see on the screen, $9 million was the average of media impact value generated during the live Fashion Week shows. This is something that we share with many different publications, and that we publish in one of our reports that you can find on our website. You can download it for free. But it's a criteria that we always use, and you probably are familiar with this algorithm, because when Chiara Ferragni was getting married 2 years ago, we also published a report and a study that was analyzing the impact of different brands that were collaborating with Chiara Ferragni. And one of the main figures from that campaign was that Chiara Ferragni's wedding generated over 36 million in media impact value. So you probably saw, because it appeared everywhere in many different publications. So this is the algorithm, the proprietary algorithm that has been developed by Launchmetrics. And at this point, after we understood how important is the brand value, but also brand performance for being effective and assure the highest return of investment possible, there are certain elements that we should consider in the way COVID-19 has changed the whole industry, and especially the way it affected the launch of new collections and campaigns. The biggest statement you can see now on the screen since the pandemic has started is that digital will be more important and become the new normal. I will say this has been defining our whole life and our whole activity in the last year. Because there is a growing interest around digital brand experiences, right? And it is interesting, in the last year, we have seen how digital transformation in many companies has been accelerated. And what was planned maybe for the next 5 years was absolutely completed in a few months, right? We saw how many companies started an e-commerce, how many companies move into new platforms like Instagram, like TikTok, and everything happened just in a year. And in this direction, I would like to mention a big project that we were managing with the French Federation of Haute Couture, who's the organizer of Fashion Week in Paris. So we have been partners for such a long time with the Federation, but obviously in the last year when the pandemic started, there was a big fear around Fashion Weeks and what was going to happen with them, because obviously these events are quite key for many brands. It is the opportunity they have to launch their collections to the market, and it is like obviously the moment in which they connect not only with consumers but also with buyers, with stylists, with journalists, with the press. So it's the moment in which they can build this momentum, this special and key momentum that I was mentioning before, that is able not only to impact on physical attendees that are attending Fashion Week physically, but also to anyone who's connected, because we know, and we have been talking in the last years within the industry about the importance of using Fashion Week as a showcase for like reaching out audiences all around the world. So at the beginning of last year, as I was saying, we had this conversation with Federation, and we had this moment of saying, okay, what's going to happen? What should we do? Because obviously the industry cannot stop. The industry cannot stop launching collections and moving. We need to still like generate business. We need to still offer the opportunity to brands and designers to create that momentum. So that's why we built together in collaboration with the Federation of Paris Fashion Week. We built a platform that has been the one that they have been using in the last 3 seasons already. But we collaborated with them in developing this platform where designers can show their collections, where they can really maybe not organize a physical event, but they can show their movies, they can show their virtual experiences to the consumer. It is also a platform where they can connect directly with their showrooms. So at the end, we try to build something really similar to the Fashion Week physical experience, but in a virtual stage. And in this direction, we knew how important Fashion Week was for those brands and for the industry in general. And that's why we helped them to create this platform that was offering to designers and brands the possibility of showing collections in a total different way, but still maintaining this experience, this unique moment that is so key within the fashion industry. And why are virtual events the new opportunity for brands? So obviously, with this new scenario, with everything that happened after the pandemic started, and hopefully things will change. And I don't think this is the end of physical events. I think when we recover part of the normal activity, we'll go into the direction of like a hybrid format of events. But obviously, we realize how important are virtual events for brands, right? And how they can be really an opportunity. So here in the screen, we can see like some of the elements that are describing this big opportunity. So at the end, I was mentioning before, there is a growing interest around digital brand experiences. It's something that has been happening in the last 10 years. There is this digital transformation process that has been like a step by step, but now we totally saw how it was accelerated, but there is a growing interest in digital experiences. We have this momentum that I mentioned several times, that it's so important when launching a new collection. And at the end, through digital channels, we have the ability of extending that brand momentum much more. We have the ability of creating like a campaign that it's not only happening in one moment, but it's happening in a week, in a month, in a long-term period. Then we have the ability of creating interactive and not restricted to a given place events or experiences. So at the end, in a digital stage, we can do whatever we want to do. We can offer the opportunity to the audience to interact with our brand, to interact with the speaker, like we are today in this POWO event. So at the end, we offer this possibility of interactive and dynamic experiences. We are able to host a wider, more global audience in a virtual setting. Like at the end, we are able to connect with audiences that are in the US, in Italy, in France, in China, and it doesn't matter. We are like a small brand based in Germany, for example, or based in Spain. We don't have any kind of barriers, and that's a great opportunity. And at the end, something that I always mention in a digital stage when thinking in launching a digital collection, something that is a great opportunity is that you can almost measure everything. Like I'm a digital marketing marketer. My background is from digital marketing, and obviously that's something that I always highlight, like the fact that even if you do PR, if you do paid campaigns, if you do whatever you do, everything can be measurable. And this is a great opportunity for understanding better your consumers and for optimizing your strategy. And then moving into the next slide, at the end, there is something that's quite key and it's quite important when thinking in launching your collection in a virtual format, right? And it's how you're going to plan the before, during, and after your event. I guess there are two ideas that are quite relevant when thinking in launching a collection in a digital format. The first one is you still need to keep that experience. It doesn't matter if you are using a screen, if you are using a movie, or whatever you are using on the digital stage, but it still needs to be experienced, right? In the same way it used to be in a physical atmosphere. So at the end, you need to be creative. You need to create something that is inspirational, that is unique. So you need to build that momentum, even if it's happening on an online atmosphere. And the second element is this planning process. So at the end, when we are when we are launching a digital collection, we need to think in the before. So how you are going to produce all the different assets for your collection, if you are going to record a movie, if you are going to do a photo shooting, if you are going to create digital assets specifically for your social media campaign, that is something that you need to plan with ahead of time. Then the event experience itself, if you're going to stream your event in real time, if it's something that is going to happen in a small room, but you will stream through a platform, through the technology that you will use. Launchmetrics is something that we offer. We offer our events platform that is able to do a streaming of your event in real time, or you can even play a pre-recorded event, or show. So this is something that you need to consider. What's the format that you will choose? How will you organize it? What type of technology, of platform you are going to use? So it's offering a great experience for everyone who's connected. Then the distribution, how you are going to distribute that experience. Like obviously, you need to consider the physical or digital showroom. So if you remember well, with Fashion Weeks, we used to have this showroom, like physical showroom, where all buyers, journalists, and professional stakeholders used to go after the fashion week, after the fashion show, to see like more specifically what samples, what products they were interested in. So today we can do the same, but in a virtual stage. We can be the digital showroom that allow journalists and buyers to see the whole collection, to see all products that I have in my collections, to download the images in high quality, to request a sample. This is also something that we provide from Launchmetrics, but it's super key that we maintain exactly the same steps that we will follow in a typical collection launch. And then obviously amplification. I was mentioning before, like the social media, how you are going to use your own media to create buzz, to amplify the impact of your collection launch, to amplify the impact of your virtual event, the virtual movie you will produce, or whatever you will create to launch your collection. And finally, measurement. I was mentioning before how important it is. So at the end, if we think in this full process that you can see on the screen, every single step can be measured, can be tracked, and that's a great opportunity, because at the end, we can optimize our efforts. We can understand from the very first day when I'm launching a campaign, if it is working on social media or not, if it's working with the influencers I'm collaborating with or not, and if I need to take fast decisions in order to optimize it. So that's why second big element and super key is the whole process of planning your campaign. You should do it in the same way you will do it in a physical atmosphere. And then moving into the next slide, here's like an image that you will probably remember. This is from 2019, but it was a great moment in the fashion industry. So in 2019, during the show of Versace, no one was expecting that at the end of the show, J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, was going to appear at the end of the show with this green jungle dress that she was wearing 20 years before, and that she was wearing better 20 years after. So it was amazing. It was a great momentum that Versace was planning. And at the end, well, we measured, this is something that we published in one of our reports. We measured this collection launch, and we obtained like the figure that you can see on the screen, like this momentum, like the fact of launching the Versace collection with this momentum that J-Lo generated was offering to the brand over $31 million in media impact value. So at the end, it's super important how you plan this, not only because probably you think, well, it was just like counting with J-Lo, counting with her to be part of the show, and that's it. But at the end, it was not about that. It's about the whole process. So Versace really planned the before, during, and after perfectly. No one knew that Jennifer Lopez was going to appear at the end of the show, but at the end it was a success. It was a success in terms of amplification, in terms of impact, and obviously in terms of like collection promotion. So I think it's really, really key that you consider this experience, this momentum is really important, but at the same time, we need to think in being efficiency, in getting the best of our effort. So at the end, we need to plan very, very well the before, during, and after to get to this point that Versace was able to get. And in the next slide, I will say we can come down with three main concepts or three main elements that will define like my whole presentation and what I was explaining during the presentation, that it's essentially when thinking and launching your campaign, when thinking and launching your collection in a virtual format, we need to consider that measurement will be absolutely key, as I repeated many times. Like tracking everything that you're doing will help you to take a smarter decision. So that comes to the second element, that it's optimized. So that's the opportunity that we have in a digital stage, like the opportunity of changing things, of adjusting elements, or like moving into one direction or another. So it's really, really important that you optimize and you have like a fast response to everything that is happening in an online atmosphere. And finally, make sure that you are connecting with the right audience. I was talking about the voices, the voice approach, and at the end, it doesn't matter if you count on influencers, on celebrities, if you use your own media, or if you do like a partnership with an institution or with another brand. But it's really important that you find the right allies to to make sure your launch campaign, your collection campaign is going to be a success, and you will reach out to the exact audience and the exact consumer you want to reach out to. So we need to build brand awareness. We need to still create those momentums, these experiences that are so important, but we also need to leverage technology. And I would like to finish my presentation with this sentence in my last slide, that at the end, we could say, and we could summarize, that it's all about creating experiences, but at the same time, leveraging technology for being efficient and for getting the highest return on investment possible, because that's super key when using like a digital stage for launching collections. So I would like to finish my presentation with this like conclusion, with this general conclusion. So thank you so much, everyone. I have put here like a link in case you are interested in knowing more about what we do at Launchmetrics and our Brand Performance Cloud. So in this link, you can visit our website and take a look at everything that we provide in terms of technology, in terms of data analysis, and solutions for marketing communication professionals within the fashion, luxury, and beauty industry. Thank you so much. I don't know if we have some time for questions now.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we don't have time for
We don't have
questions now.
time.
Yeah, because we have a lot of things to do, a lot of panels, and as you can imagine. And I don't know if you are in the arena, you can just go around. Maybe if you can meet Gina in the arena and poker, and maybe ask
Yeah.
some questions in the arena. Thank you very much again for your presentation, and have a
Thank
good
you
day
so
in Madrid.
much. Yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.